to believe that it's been nearly 20 years since BMW introduced their first ever SUV, the X5, back in 2000. Now, back then, they actually called this thing a sports activity vehicle, and it was essentially just a raised up version of their top-selling 5 Series sedan. Now, as you guys know, SUVs have continued to explode here in America, and this has quickly become one of the company's top-selling vehicles, with BMW moving around 50,000 units annually. So today, I'm just outside of Seattle, Washington, with the rest of the members of the Automotive Video Association, and I'm standing by this vehicle. This is the all-new 2019 4th generation X5. You can see it finally looks a little different. It's riding on an all-new platform. But the big question I want answered, is this latest X5 still have what it takes to be the best in the segment? That's what we're here to find out. So as most of you guys know, BMW as of late has been pretty guilty with not really changing the exterior look of a lot of their new cars. But when you look at this all-new X5, I can pretty easily tell that this is an all-new vehicle. I actually really like what BMW has done here. Of course, you've got the signature twin kidney grills. This particular one that I'm showing you is the 40i in just the regular X-Line package. They also offer an M Sport package, which gives you a much more aggressive front fascia for like $3,500. It actually looks pretty good in just the standard configuration. My tester here has an executive package, which rolls in BMW's full LED headlights with a laser light technology. That's right, this car has laser headlights. And of course, it's not the full-on laser headlights that you get in Europe. It's kind of dumbed down because America has really stupid regulations for headlights. But BMW says with these laser headlights, it basically allows you to see further out at night when you guys are driving the vehicle. You also have LED fog lights at the lower fascia, some nicely integrated parking sensors, and overall it is unmistakably a BMW. I think they've done a really good job with the overall proportions of this new X5. Now, this is actually riding on an all-new platform this year. BMW calls it their cluster architecture. It's the same platform that underpins the even larger X7, the BMW 5 Series, and the current generation 7 Series. And when they moved it to this platform, they made the new X5 significantly bigger. It's 2 inches longer in the wheelbase and 2 inches longer overall. At 194.3 inches long and 117-inch long wheelbase, this is pretty big. It's about the same size as something like a Volvo XC90, which is the reason why they continue to offer a third row seat option in this vehicle. Now, you can see my particular twister has some 20-inch wheels that are an option. These are like a $1,000 option. They're also paired with the M Sport brakes for like another $800 with the blue calipers. They look fantastic, actually. They're riding on 275 45 series tires. These are run flat Pirelli Scorpio tires. Now, my tester also has an adjustable air suspension for about $1,000. It allows the X5's ground clearance to be increased from the standard 8.7 inches, where you can increase it by another 2 inches, which will definitely be good for off-road capabilities. The rest of the profile, you can see, is pretty traditional. It's got that signature, design element here with their kink at the rear quarter panel. And then when you look at the back of the car, you can see they've made significant changes to the overall look compared to the previous generation. You're gonna have full LED taillights, as you can see. There's an xDrive 40i badge. All-wheel drive is standard on the X5 on this new generation now. Before, they used to offer an S-Drive, which was rear drive. And then down here, you can see, I like this little brushed silver finish on the rear bumper. It goes well with this mineral white metallic exterior color. And then you have these nicely integrated dual exhausts, which are not really connected to the mufflers, but it does look pretty handsome. Now, this is the straight 6 turbocharged engine, so let me let you guys hear what that motor sounds like real quick. And it's a single turbo engine with 335 horsepower. We'll go into the test drive later on, but I think it actually sounds pretty good, typical BMW straight 6. Now, in terms of the rear liftgate area, a power liftgate is going to be included on all the models, and it still preserves that trademark split design for the tailgate. So it's actually a power opening here where you actually have 2 different levels of the tailgate. And if you want to close it, you just have to tap that button and it'll close this one automatically. Now, in terms of the cargo area, BMW also is pretty good. You're looking at around 34 cubic feet of space with the second row up. Remember, there is a third row seat that is optional that this one does not have, but if you guys want to fold down the seats, it's going to expand the cargo area out to about 72 cubic feet, which is pretty good. It's right up there with the top of the class. So let's move on to the inside of the all-new 4th generation X5. The first thing I'm going to show you guys here is the current key fob for BMW products. It's their intelligent access key. This does come standard. They do offer a display key that my tester does not have. That's a pretty inexpensive option, but I imagine most of you will probably just forego that because you'll just use eventually the BMW app and use your phone as the actual key. But if you want to keep the key fob in your pocket as you approach the door handle of the X5, you can see it's very similar to the new X7. The door handles look almost the same. This is not the button actually where you would touch it to lock the doors. You just touch this little ridge area here. That'll lock the doors for you. And then if you want to unlock it, just touch the back of the door handle and then that will unlock the door for you. Now my tester has this brown or coffee upgraded leather interior for $1,500. It gives you some additional stitching on the door panels, some contrasting stitching here on the door panels as well. The seats also look pretty nice. They're heated and cooled. It's missing the massage function though. This is a 16-way power adjustable seat with 2-person memory. The massage function is literally only $1,200 extra. I would probably just say get that option if you're going to be spending that kind of money. But the inside is very nice. It's a huge upgrade over the old X5, but it really will remind you a lot of their new X7 SUV. So they really took a lot from the X7 and just put it on their smaller X5. So I think BMW did a really good job there. Now getting into the inside, you can see it has a nice easy step-in height. I have it set to its regular adjustable suspension height right now, so it's 8.7 inches of ground clearance. You can also lower it if you'd like when you want to shut the door. It sounds very solid. Remember, this is the same cluster platform that's on the X7, and if you want, my tester has $350 worth of self-closing doors. So it's actually kind of a steal for $350. I definitely would highly recommend that if you guys are going to purchase one of these. Now, no glass controls on this particular one, but it still looks very nice. The glass controls would have added like a crystal shifter here, a crystal button to start the engine, and a volume knob and an iDrive controller. So when you start the engine up, just push this button here to fire it up. And there's the typical BMW chime. The steering wheel is power, tilt, and telescoping, which is nice if you want to put it into its sports setting here. The engine, it's very smooth. We gotta love a BMW straight six. It even revs quicker than their V8, which their V8 sounds good, but this is arguably the smoother engine to go with because it's a straight six. It's inherently balanced. Now, the rest of this interior, you can see you've got some real genuine stitching here on the entire dashboard because I have that upgraded package. You have this standard wood grain trim here. BMW offers a choice of like an aluminum trim or a matte finish wood. This down here is a padded plastic. It's a soft touch injection molded plastic, but it's not actually stitched. Their bigger BMW products do offer that feature. The center stack here is pretty similar to what I saw on the new X7. The door panels, you can see, also nice and stitched. You have some real aluminum trim. If you had the massage seat function, the buttons would be right here where you could adjust the massage. You can see there's your window controls over here where the windows are one-touch automatic up and down. And they also feel really high quality and they feel really good. There's a nice padded area over here. There's a nice little grab handle here. Down here, it's nice and padded as well with some very good storage. Your headlight controls and dimmer switch, of course, is over there. The steering wheel, as I said, is power, tilt, and telescoping. It's got a heated wheel function, which is really nice. And then, of course, you've got all these buttons here. Obviously, this is for the steering wheel mounted paddle shifters for the 8-speed automatic. You've got your adaptive cruise control buttons over here, where this car does have their adaptive cruise control plus, like their driver assistance. You can see right there, there's a camera that watches your face, just like on the new X7. This car gives you the ability to drive on its own, basically in traffic jams at speeds below 40 miles an hour, where I don't have to keep my hands on the wheel. Whenever you push this button over here, you can see there's the assisted drive mode, or there's the distance control, which is just regular adaptive cruise control. I'll show you guys that in the test drive, but I found it to work very well just from my initial testing. I like the new instrumentation for the gauges. It's got a strange tachometer though that kind of goes the other direction, but you can slightly configure this. It shows your GPS in the center over there, which is pretty cool. This is, of course, their 12.3-inch iDrive 6.0 infotainment system. It's now become a touchscreen, and iDrive, honestly, is one of the best systems in the business. You have to really love iDrive for its crystal clear clarity, for how quick it is. You can see it's got embedded navigation, which works very well. It's very quick. It looks beautiful as well. It almost has like a Google Earth view to it. I love their iDrive system, and it also includes things like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The Apple CarPlay, again, is wireless. Now, to activate the Apple CarPlay, you got to go to the home screen here and then go to the .com feature, and then you kind of go to phone and CarPlay. That will pull up your Apple CarPlay, of course, which is wireless. My phone, as you can see, is just kind of sitting over there in the wireless charger. and it gives you this feature. This you have to pay extra for as a subscription plan. So it's a really horrible thing that BMW is doing. I'm not entirely sure how much people are paying a month for it. Maybe it's like $100 a month, but why are BMW charging people for it when it's free in other brands? So I imagine a lot of owners are gonna be pissed off about that. BMW is gonna have to rethink that slightly if they're gonna continue to charge people for the Apple CarPlay and whatnot. When you put the vehicle to reverse, my tester has a 360 camera, which is lovely. You have automatic parallel parking. It has backup assistance, which basically means, let's say you're navigating a very tight parking lot and you have to get out of that tight parking lot or that garage later. The car will actually remember which way you went in the garage, and all you have to do is just put it into reverse and it'll back out for you and follow that same exact route that you actually did. Now, I haven't tried the system yet for myself. I've seen BMW's videos on it. I'll have to do that at a later time when I actually have this car on a long term versus this shorter term where I only have it for just a couple hours and whatnot. Now, the rest of the infotainment system you can see here is very beautiful to look at. It's really on par with everything else in the segment. This car also has a quad zone automatic climate control. You can see the screen is a separate screen for your automatic climate control for your temperature and whatnot. I like how BMW does that. You have heated and cooled seats. Actually, just heated seats on this particular one. I'm sorry, I confused it with the X7 that I just filmed. This one only has the heated seats because it's missing that comfort package that would roll in the cooled seats that also gives you the massage function, which I highly would recommend. At this price, it's kind of an insult that it's missing cooled seats. Just spend another $1,200 and add the cooled seat function, which is definitely important for something like this. Now, the rest of the center stack here, you can see it does have the heated and cooled cup holders, which are really cool. I would like to see how cold it actually keeps your cups. It's a very cool option. However, that's like an a la carte option. You've got a USB port over there. This over here has a lot more buttons for your drive mode selector. You can see it's got a sport mode, it's got a comfort setting, Eco Pro, and it's got an adaptive setting or an individual setting. This also adjusts your adjustable air suspension. If you want, you can adjust it to 5 different levels. It even shows you on the screen what it's doing. It's got your electronic parking brake over here. You have a nice padded armrest over here. And then you have a nice center console here with a USB-C charging port and a pretty good amount of storage. Now, looking at the glove compartment, you can see it's a pretty big size. It's very deep. It's damped. It's lined with felt. It's very similar to the new X7. And I think the seats are pretty comfortable. But again, you can get a much higher quality leather, add in that luxury comfort package for the massage seat and the ventilated seat option. But overall, the interior of the new X5 feels like you're sitting in an X7 at times, although it's just not quite as big. It's very easy to see out of. It's luxurious. It's got the latest tech. It's got a head-up display. I think a lot of people are going to be very pleased with what BMW is doing in their newest designs. Now, hopping into the second row of the X5, now keep in mind, my tester is only a 2-row model. If you guys want, you can actually add a third row for like $1,000 extra. Now, BMW actually says the legroom back here is around 37 inches of legroom. Surprisingly, there's almost a completely flat floor here, which is nice. So you have to put 3 people across. It's not bad. I will say that I've been in some competitors that have slightly more second row space. You can see this one has its own set of climate controls. It's got a 4-zone automatic climate control, which is nice. You have rear seat air vents. No heated rear seats though. This one's missing an option package that would get you heated rear seats. And if you want to fold down this armrest here, you can see there's 2 cup holders that pop out. The seats themselves, however, I'm surprised they don't recline. They don't slide forward, they don't recline. That's something that I really was hoping that BMW would offer. Maybe they offer that on the third row model. I'll have to double check that if I do get one of those to test. You can see there is like a little mounting point here for like a rear seat entertainment system. This one has the rear seat entertainment prep package. And then you have a USB-C charging port there, which is nice. You have 2 map pockets above me. I've got this really big panoramic sunroof that lets in a lot of light. And overall, the backseat of the X5 is usable, but I feel like there are some competitors that offer slightly more space in the rear. Now, under the hood of the latest X5, BMW is currently only offering it with 2 different engine configurations. An M version will be coming at a later date. This is the motor that most people are going to get. It's the company's signature 3-liter turbocharged straight 6-cylinder engine. It's a single turbo motor with their Vanos variable valve timing technology and direct injection. It makes 335 horsepower and 332 pound-feet of torque. This is essentially the same motor that you're going to find in something like the upcoming Toyota Supra. This is their signature straight 6. Now, it all goes out through an 8-speed ZF transmission, and automatic is your only option, with their xDrive all-wheel drive system that's going to be standard. Now, this is an SUV, so it does have some towing capability. BMW says with the tow package, it'll tow a maximum of 7,200 pounds, and fuel economy is not entirely terrible either. It's rated at 20 in the city and 26 on the highway. That's honestly one of the best numbers I've seen for a 6-cylinder option, and the new X5 is a little bit lighter versus last year, as this one sits, it weighs around 4,500 pounds. If you guys go for the V8 model, it's like another 200 pounds heavier, but you'll have 456 horsepower, but that's a different review. So with all-wheel drive, with this 8-speed automatic, let's get out on the road and see how it performs. Ooh. Wow. I wasn't expecting this straight six to feel that quick off the line. It definitely has some nice pull to it. Now, BMW does include a launch control feature in this car as well with the 8-speed automatic. It was kind of unexpected considering this is just the baseline of the X5 for it to have a launch control feature. The new X5 definitely is a return to BMW remembering the fact that they are supposed to be the ultimate driving machine. The chassis on this car is just really good. It feels like I'm driving just a sports sedan that's a little bit raised up. This one has the adjustable air suspension, which I have it in its sports sitting right now, and you really feel the playfulness of this car. Put it into its paddle shift mode here. It makes a nice little burble from the exhaust, which is lovely. I like it. I mean, 0 to 60 time is around 5.6 seconds for this straight six. If you guys want the V8, it'll cut that second in time by, or cut that time in half by about a second to 4.5 seconds, which is mind-boggling considering this is like a family SUV that'll seat up to 7 people if you guys go for the third row option. Now, the one thing that I wish BMW had addressed is their steering feel. Even in this sports setting here, it feels a little too light for my taste. I mean, sure, look at it. It's very quick and it's very precise, which is nice, but I just want a little bit more heft to it, a little more feel. Even in sport, I expected it to be a little bit more firm, so I'm a little disappointed there. Now, in terms of the visibility, it's really easy to see out of this car. You have this big view out of the front. You have these relatively smaller-ish side mirrors, but you're gonna have features like the adaptive cruise control that my tester has with the automatic lane change ability, the traffic jam assistance. Now, all of them will come standard with forward collision alert, automatic emergency braking, blind spot monitoring with the cross traffic braking. That is actually standard. You have to pay $1,700 extra to get the adaptive cruise control with the traffic jam assistance, which I'll try out in just a moment. The seats also, they're really comfortable. They hug you, but I'm just sad they're not cooled seats. But for $1,200, you can get that feature, and you can also get the massage seating function, which is a no-brainer for me if you're going to be spending this kind of money on a vehicle, considering that like something like a Volvo XC60 or XC90 also has that feature. So you really kind of just want something like that. Now, I want to try another quick acceleration run here. This time I won't use the launch control, I'll just floor it. Little soft. Oh, that's nice. I mean, there's really no need for the V8. This thing is quick enough for most people. You don't necessarily need the V8, but it's good to know that they have the V8 in case you guys want that extra power. So this is one seriously well-rounded car. It's more fun to drive for me than the last Volvo XC60 or XC90 that I drove. Much more interesting to drive than an Audi Q5, although this is kind of a class above the Q5, so you have to keep that in mind when you're actually driving this thing. And the X5 really is their signature SUV. I mean, I hate things like the X6 because it's just a useless SUV, unlike the X5, which has that coupe-like look. This is, to me, is practical, it's comfortable, it's still fun to drive, and I'm really looking forward to, kind of seeing the M versions of this car come out. Now, the all-wheel drive system in this car does have a more rear bias, and when you put your foot down, you can feel the car vectoring the torque and pushing the rear end out a little bit, which is definitely nice. That's something that you want from a performance SUV like this. Now, I want to talk about the active driver assistance because BMW says it's got a camera that's watching my face, and it's like a Cadillac Super Cruise, so let's turn it on. I've set the cruise control on. You can cycle between assisted drive mode, which I have it in now, or just regular cruise control. Now, let's see this curve right here. I'm not gonna touch the wheel. Let's see how it turns. Ooh. Now it's telling me to actually put my hands back on the wheel. So it's, again, not the full hands-off function like Cadillac is, and it just beeped at me and yelled at me because it wanted me to put my hands back on the wheel. So let's try turning it back on again, because I want to test to see how well it works. Now, there are indicator lights here on the center, on the steering wheel itself. Now, it's flashing red because it doesn't like me driving without my hands on the wheel. So, again, this is not the level 2, almost to level 3, or it's not the almost level 3 autonomy that Cadillac gives you with their Super Cruise, but what you do notice is when your hands are on the wheel, for example, you're coming up on a sharp curve here, all you have to do is just slightly nudge the wheel over, and the car takes over the rest of the steering for you. And this is supposed to really help you in low-speed traffic jam situations where, you know, it actively works the pedals, it works the throttle, the brakes, the steering, and whatnot, and it'll do it to a full stop when you're dealing with rush hour traffic. So BMW's driver assistance tech is really markedly improved. It's not quite there yet, you know, with the Cadillac Super Cruise or the Tesla Autopilot. I think that it gets a little too sensitive. Like I can have my hands off the wheel for only like a couple seconds and it starts yelling at me to put my hands back on the wheel. Right there, it's already starting to beep yellow at me. And then if I ignore it, it'll probably start beeping and turn red on me. It's literally showing an indication of hands, so I'm just gonna listen to it. I don't want it to yell at me. But other than that, this is one seriously nice driving crossover. The 6-cylinder has plenty of power for most. It rides well, it's very quiet on the inside, the seats are comfortable. There's really very little to complain about aside from the price of the vehicle, which we'll get to as we go into the conclusion of this video. So as BMW's first ever SUV, the X5 definitely has a lot of history within the BMW brand. So they really took their time with redesigning this all new 4th generation model. And it seriously shows. After spending the day driving this all new 2019 X5, I'm happy to report that it has a lot of the typical BMW strengths that we've come to expect from this brand. It's got really sporty driving dynamics. It's got a really nice interior. It's got a smooth, straight 6-cylinder engine that's turbocharged, and it's got some really impressive technology, especially with the driver assistance, with the interior, to challenge the best from Mercedes, from Audi, from Jaguar, from all the European luxury brands. And that's kind of where BMW was lacking. They were really playing it safe for years. And while this new one still continues to have somewhat conservative looks, I'm imagining that a lot of people, when they drive this thing for the first time, will find a lot to like with the interior, with the driving dynamics, and with the overall packaging and just design of the vehicle. With all that said, what's it going to cost to put one of these X5s in your driveway if you're looking to buy one of these vehicles? Now, as in typical fashion, these vehicles they tend to get more expensive when they are redesigned, and the new X5 is no exception. This car now starts at $60,000 for the 6-cylinder model. Remember, all-wheel drive is standard. They are not currently offering a 4-cylinder turbo on the X5, which could change. Now, if you guys want the V8 motor, that's going to cost you another $15,000 for a total of around $75,000. Now, being a BMW, options are plethora and they're damn expensive. This one has several options on it, from the convenience package to the premium package, to the driver assistance professional package, to the executive package, to the wheels, to the air suspension. When you add everything in, including the mineral white color and the upgraded leather on the inside, this car stickers for around $73,980, which is a pretty significant chunk of change. I mean, you could buy something like you could buy something like a Volvo XC90, which is arguably a little bit more luxurious on the inside, but I'd say that it doesn't quite have the driving feel of the new BMWs, and BMW's done a really good job with their new interiors. They don't feel quite as warm as Volvo's, but they're kind of right up there with Audi, with Mercedes, with Lexus for sure, and I think they've done a really good job with this particular model. But I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on this 2019 BMW X5 xDrive 40i. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.